raise hand feature, and we'll call on you when we get to questions.
Okay, after much consideration, evaluation, and deliberate thought, I have determined that it's in the best interest of our program to make a change with our coaching staff. You know, that's a difficult decision for me. I've been close to these guys for some time. Eddie and I, our relationship goes back a long way, and he has been a part of some of the best years of the University of Kentucky's history. You know, we've won quite a few games together. I feel the same way about Darren Henshaw. Since the arrival of Eddie and Darren, we've gone to 4 straight bowl games, and I can't thank them enough for what they've done, the work that they've put in, and I care deeply about them personally, and I thank them. You know, you need to recognize the work that they've done. They've done a tremendous job for us. They care deeply about this program. They care deeply about their players, and it was a difficult time. But I also have to recognize that I have a responsibility to our players, to our fans, to our administration, to do what's best for our program as we move forward. And sometimes change is necessary. I felt like this is certainly one of those times. You know, it's been deliberate. We've talked about it for a while. Eddie and I have, and you know, so I've had some ideas and some thoughts in mind for several weeks as we pondered this decision, and I'll immediately start looking at candidates and talking with guys.
We'll get to questions. We'll start with John Hale.
Mark, just what do you envision for the kind of offense you want to run moving forward? Obviously, the offense that you thought Eddie and Darren were going to run when they came from Cincinnati didn't end up being the same system because of injuries and all that the first year and ending emerging. Just what do you want the offense to look like now?
Well, you know, no offense, but we play different defenses than they do in that league. You know, so I think we'd all like an offense that looks like that, but it's difficult in the SEC. And I think what was so great about Eddie and Darren is they did adapt to the talent that we have and the things that we can do to help us win football games for a large portion of their time here. And we won a lot of games. Again, it can't go unnoticed that you know, we've won as many games in certain time periods as they have in 40 years, so they adapted well. But there also comes a time when you know, change is needed. So you know, we want an offense that's balanced. I mean, that's what I envision, is a team that obviously can be very balanced. We did become one-dimensional. Again, I can't put that all on Eddie Grant or Darren Henshaw or any one person. That's a collective effort. Certainly, as the head coach, I share in that responsibility and that criticism because I'm the one that ultimately determines the culture of this program. And we've had a very strong winning culture for a long time. That's how we were able to hold it together this year during super difficult times. But you also have an obligation to make sure we're progressing and having an offense that you know, is exciting to watch, that puts fans in the stands. We need that. You need to you know, attract the right guys in recruiting and constantly move forward. So you know, I'm wide open. I think it would be extremely difficult to go from one extreme to the other. You know, we've seen that in this league, and it's difficult. So, you know, I want to be balanced, but I want to be exciting to watch as well.
Josh?
Hey, Mark, you talk about wanting to be exciting and balanced, and how much of that, you know, is keeping guys that are already on the roster kind of on board and future players, and how does that play into with signing day coming up, trying to get somebody I guess, is there an urgency to get somebody in place before that, or can that kind of go past signing day, you think?
We will see. I feel pretty good about signing day. I have, there's a chance that we could have somebody in place before signing day. That's for sure. But I don't think it's the end all be all. I feel pretty good with this group, and they trust in the vision of what we have as we move forward. So I'm just going to make sure we get the right guy.
Derek?
Mark, in the event that you guys do play in a bowl game, what would the offensive coaching setup be for that?
Yeah, I'd work with the guys that we have here in place. We have some, guys that we can move up and activate and put them in roles. So we'll manage that. And we do plan on playing in a bowl game, by the way. We absolutely do. We had a team meeting this morning, and the vast majority of the guys are excited and want to play. And there's a few that just need some time. They need some time to heal up mentally and physically, and I completely understand that. But we're excited about moving forward with a bowl game.
Nick?
Mark, you've gone to the NFL ranks to get Brad, among others. Is that any different in finding a coach going that way than going through the college route?
It's different in the process sometimes in how you go about that, but it's certainly an option.
John Hale?
Mark, obviously when you hired Eddie, experience was a big factor there in the league, and just as a longtime coach, is that something that you're looking for again, that somebody who's been a coordinator before, or are you open to hiring young and up and coming guys who might be ready for that stuff?
Yeah, to be determined. We will see. I feel very good. I know this day today is a sad day for me, and personally, because of my feelings, my personal relationship with these coaches, and the gratitude that I have for what they've done. But hiring Eddie was a smart decision. He helped us win an awful lot of football games with the talent that we had, and and that, again, I keep on coming back to that. But I'm very grateful for Eddie and for Darren. Because they did an awful lot of good things for us and really put us in a position to win a lot of games.
John Clay?
Mark, how much do you think the game has changed recently? I think I asked you about this before, where Nick Saban said not too long ago, it used to be a good defense could beat a good offense, but it's not that way anymore, where it's trending in that direction. How much do you think the game has changed, where you just got to have a good offense to put points on the board?
I think that there is definitely some validity to that, but it's not the end-all, be-all. Really good football teams win, and Alabama has a really good football team in all areas. And teams of that nature, if you're going to win it all, and that's obviously their goal each and every year, to win every single game, and they've worked for 100 years to put themselves in that position, and Nick certainly has, and they are a remarkable football team. And believe me, if I had some of those offensive weapons, I'd feel the exact same way. But for the rest of us, you have to find balance, and you have to be good in all three areas. And I don't know what he said or what he didn't say, but I can guarantee you Alabama has a great chance to win it all and to win every game, because they are good in all areas.
Justin Rowland?
How much, when you're looking at potential replacements, how important is familiarity? Either somebody that you worked with in the past, or somebody that you're just very familiar with what you're getting, and how important is that?
Well, you asked really two different questions there. Absolutely essential, with familiar with what I'm getting as far as the product on the field. But familiarity, as far as me knowing him personally, not a necessity. I have to find the right guy for this program to help us move forward.
Mark Story.
Mark, how much had the perception of being one-dimensional offensively, was it becoming a recruiting issue? And secondly, in big picture, what do you think went wrong? What do you think caused the offense to get so out of balance?
That's a difficult question. It's a difficult year. We could go into a bunch of ifs and buts, but nobody really wants to hear that, and it is what it is. As I mentioned many times, I don't want to sit here and cry the blues. It's a difficult year. It's tough. When your offense is playing exceptional teams every single week, it puts a lot of stress on you, and it does hurt you as far as your confidence and your ability to just play and get out there and do some things. So I think that has an effect. I think it had an effect on us this year. How the offense got so out of balance, we're all frustrated with that. Trust me. Believe me, without throwing anybody under the bus, because Eddie's one of my dear friends, Darren's one of my dear friends. I love those guys. I am responsible for the whole, program and the culture of this program. But I am very, very limited in what I'm involved as far as what they play, what they plan, how they practice. That is, I do not have enough hours in the day. Maybe some head coaches do. I don't know. Maybe I need to talk to my SID and talk to, I'm getting pulled a million different directions. I have to set the tone with the messaging of this team. I work extremely hard working at culture, and building their leadership, building their character, messaging, and working in the defense. I wish I could just be left alone for 2 hours. 2-3 hours in a defensive meeting without getting pulled out of there every 15 minutes for something. And there are things you have to deal with as a head coach. But I am very, very limited as far as input. Really, I don't have the time to be involved or the expertise. I know what a good offense needs to look like. But I cannot spend my time in there and also be in there with the defense. I have my input. I give some recommendations, and I know when things are not looking right, that's for sure. When things are not looking right, I'm going to step in and try to be part of the solution. But I try to stay out of the way and not be part of the problem. That's up to the guys that I hire. But with that being said, again, you have to thank Eddie and Darren for adapting and winning games. I mean, it's almost a joke sometimes. If we score 41 points and lose, I think half the people are okay with it. But, I mean, not me. I'm judged on wins and losses. And I think everybody should look at that. And so, again, you thank them for the first 10-win season in the last 40 years. Those guys were responsible for, and I thought he did a remarkable job of adapting and doing things to help us win games. And I think Eddie wants to do that and wants to please, and is very unselfish, and that's a compliment to him. But with that, in the unfortunate circumstances of a year ago, I do think it hindered us this year, and it carried over, and it just didn't work. And when that happens, then you have issues with the confidence, with the culture, with the fan base, that trickles into your team, and there gets to be doubt. And sometimes, that's when the change needs to be made. I think we're all responsible for that. And Eddie and Darren are true professionals and understand that. And again, I understand it, and I accept my part and my responsibility in the development of this program.
Tyler Griever.
Mark, you referenced the vote to play in a bowl game from the team. You guys have obviously been through a ton this year emotionally, and then of course with the COVID-19 situation as well. What was that vote like? I mean, was it a difficult one for guys to choose to keep playing, or what?
It didn't appear to me. I did it, with a, what they gave. We always fill out a card, getting some information when they're leaving for break, where they're going. Making sure we have all the contact information and all that, and that was just part of it. Yes or no, want to be in a bowl game. So I don't know, how that was. I mean, I got the bottom line. I actually was wrapping up with my staff when some of my support staff was finishing that, and I got the results as I walked into the team meeting. And again, it was very, there was very few. And again, I understand that. That's why I wanted to put it on them. I wanted to ask them. I know they've been through a lot, and some kids have been through more than others. So I respect that. And but I wasn't going to go into the game if we weren't, didn't have the right mentality and the right guys to go in there and play and represent us the right way. So, for me, I guess it was easy. It was an easy decision. I got the results. I think the team. I recognize the fact that they need time right now. They need to get away. They need to mentally and physically heal up for a bit. And so some time away right now is most important.
Josh?
Mark, it's maybe a little bit different when you first got here to now. I mean, I know that the money, buying these guys out will be something that the university has to deal with, but do you have any sense, do you have a kind of an assurance that, to a point that the university is willing to spend on somebody, to kind of, if you find a guy and he needs a certain amount of money, that's something that would happen, you think?
I've had full support, and I don't anticipate that changing. I've met with Mitch, obviously, and had discussions with him leading up to this decision. And Mitch has had to go up the chain and have the conversations with the president's office and the president and all that. So, yes, I feel like I will have the full support to do what's necessary. We have to. We're competing in this league, and I don't need to tell you all what it's like. So, we have to have that support.
Josh, did you have a follow-up? You want to go ahead?
Yeah, I just wanted to add, I know you kind of talking a lot about Eddie, that you are replacing you're going to have to replace a few staff members. I know there's a listing out there for the O-line job, but how do you see that playing out? Will the guy come in and you think, do you want to be involved in that hiring, or will he kind of have a say, whoever the new OC is, in kind of who that other replacement is?
We'll do that mutually. Of course, I like to give some autonomy to the coordinators if they have somebody that's essential to them. So I will hold off until I get the coordinator in place.
John Long?
Hey, Mark, it's a sad day for a lot of us also. We got to know Eddie real well over the past few years. He was always insightful, knowledgeable, respectful, courteous. I know whenever I asked you before whether he and you were always on the same page, your answer was always an emphatic yes. I was wondering what changed, and when did you first notice, and when did you tell Eddie?
We're still on the same page. That's the beautiful thing. We consulted and met together for weeks, and this was more or less a mutual decision.
John Hale?
Mark, there's a bunch of other stuff coming to college sports, it seems like, over the next several months with name, image, likeness. The free transfer rule will probably come in January from all appearances. How much does that change the equation and just roster management in that this offseason, especially as you kind of weigh which of these seniors might take the extra year of eligibility?
Yeah, it definitely can come into play, with the biggest one being the one-time transfer. Obviously, with the seniors returning, that's a big decision as well. And again, I'll hold off on any of that for right now. But have had some conversation with some of our seniors, and we'll work our way through that. But I think your question is correct. I mean, you could get some help through the one-time transfer portal. That's for sure. That's going to be different for all of us. So. And let me go back to John. As I mentioned, that Eddie and I were still always on the same page. It's still a unbelievably close friendship. I respect the heck out of Eddie. I think all of you do, and hopefully everybody in the Big Blue Nation does as well. And again, thank him for the work that he's done, and he understands, and we all understand sometimes it gets to a point where change is necessary, and you have to respect a guy like that.
All right, we got three more. John Clay, then Nick Roush, then Josh Moore, and we'll wrap up. John Clay, go ahead.
Mark, you may have kind of answered my question right there, but given your friendship with Eddie, I mean, being a head coach, obviously you have to make a lot of difficult decisions. Was this one of the more difficult decisions you've had to make since you've been here?
Without question, yes.
Nick?
I think a lot of people would say, hey, it's 2020, things are weird. Everybody gets a free pass. Why didn't everybody get a free pass?
And I know it's just not the world we live in. It's, you know what I mean, whether we think it's unfair or not, does it really matter, Nick? It doesn't. It is what it is. It stinks, but unfortunately we're judged every day.
All right, we'll wrap up with Josh.
Mark, you mentioned yesterday Devontae is a guy planning on coming back. I assume some of those guys want some time to make that call, but is there anybody else that's leaning that way, or that is kind of said that they're going to do that?
I'm just going to hold off for right now on that until we work through our way through recruiting and talk with them and let those guys get a little time to recuperate a bit.
All right, everybody, we appreciate you being on short notice. We'll
thank you.
talk to you soon.
Appreciate it.